Last week in my Disney Plus review, I mentioned the novel Kenobi by John Jackson Miller and how it would be a good basis for the new Kenobi series. That reminded me how much I enjoyed the book, so I decided to reread it. I'm happy to report that it's every bit as good as I remembered. This review will have a few spoilers, but anyone at all familiar with Star Wars will know how it ends. Also, I got a comment about how it's boring to look at a static image while I talk. I tried to think what I could add to make it more interesting. One of the things I like to do to relax is ink comic book pages. I do that in Procreate, which makes a time-lapse video of your work. Bingo. So without further delay, here's my review of Kenobi and a recording of me inking Superman from a Justice League cover by Dave Finch. Enjoy. Kenobi is set on Tatooine, right after Revenge of the Sith. It opens with Obi-Wan entering a tavern with baby Luke to get directions to the Lars farm. If you swapped Obi-Wan for Mando, it could have been a scene straight from The Mandalorian. Of course, this book was published in 2013, so it clearly didn't steal from The Mandalorian. What it does draw inspiration from, and quite heavily, is the spaghetti western. This book is a space western with Obi-Wan cast as the dusty loner that shows up in town out of nowhere and cleans up the crooks. It's got everything a western needs: the widow running a town store, a rich rancher up to no good, angry natives, and a range war being fought over scarce resources. Okay, back to our opening. Before he can get directions to the Lars farm, Obi-Wan is forced to deal with some of Jabba's thugs, which isn't really the plan. He's trying to keep a low profile, and killing thugs with a lightsaber isn't exactly the best way to do that. Eventually, he gets Luke to his aunt and uncle and settles down in an abandoned hut. Soon enough, he needs supplies, and on his way to buy them, he rescues a woman and her daughter, who's stuck on an out-of-control dewback. In gratitude, the woman invites him back to her store to shop. The rest of the story revolves around his interactions with the settlers, especially the shopkeeper and her family. He also meets the owner of the largest moisture farm in the area, who's secretly up to his eyeballs in debt and will do almost anything to pay it off. Adding to the troubles is a local tribe of Tusken Raiders who are determined to drive off the farmers. Even though he knows it's bad for his real mission, Obi-Wan can't help wanting to help everyone he can. As he says at one point, Obi-Wan keeps getting in the way of him being Ben. And that pretty much describes the main theme of the book. I won't get into too much more detail, but this is a great, fun book. I highly recommend it. To wrap up, I'll do a quick commentary on my inking project. I'm pretty much done outlining where the shadows go, and I'm on to filling in the big areas of black. If you notice an occasional flicker, that's where I messed up and had to hit undo. I tried to find a way to get rid of them, but I failed. Once the big areas of his chest and arms are done, I move on to his face and hair. Doing all the fine details took way longer than I thought it might. Of course, this was my first time inking, so hopefully I'll get faster with practice. Okay, finally the hair and face are done and I can go back in and add the hatching. This is where it really gets fun for me, as I quite enjoy doing all the fine line work. Finally, I fill in the rest of the cape shadows that also serve to frame the image. And that's it for Superman. I hope you enjoyed it. Please consider making an offering to the algorithm by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Until next time, goodbye.